Your beautiful face, I mean.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
good
trying
looking.
to.
Like I look like Brad Pitt
You do.
when
Oh,
he takes
let
a
me refresh this.
shit. This thing, if I could raise this up even more, maybe.
Oh, it says Lee Priest is live here. And it's loading up. Oh my God. There we are.
We might
Isn't
actually
it
be able to.
funny how. Yeah, we're only looking little though, but people do not get mad at me because we are like this. It's not widescreen. But
Yeah.
because when I went on to put you on live, it says you cannot do horizontal.
Well,
So,
we've been doing it horizontally, you and
between
I, for a while.
exactly between you and I, when it comes to phones and computers, you people are gonna get what you get when we fucking talk on here, because between Greg and I, we haven't got one fucking brain cell that Elon Musk has. So just be happy you're getting this in this. Well, we are short people, so we're just converted down, you know.
We've been
But
trying to get on live here for like a half hour. I got my girlfriend coming out here. I don't know. It's crazy, right?
so
We're
we have to
both
just
shocked.
do this to get the whole body in. We just got to keep moving back and forth, just so
There
you
you
can.
go.
It's like
I just sent Joe Zapata a video of you. Remember when I brought you up on stage at the Arnold Classic when you weren't with MD and I had to crowd chant and bring Lee back? Remember that or no?
okay, yeah.
I
At
had
the
to. You look fucking.
you got that,
You
do
were
you?
wearing a short sleeve shirt, black short sleeve shirt. I just sent him the video of me bringing on an MD, and you look fucking jacked, bro. Your arms were fucking humongous. That shit.
Oh,
Joe's got to put that up, or I'll put it up. Look, is that somebody calling? What is that noise? Do you hear that?
I can hear it too, but I don't know where. I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know. What the,
Don't ask me where that noise is coming
yeah,
from.
what the? It
It's
sounded
the
like somebody trying to
CIA.
call or something.
Once said, I sounded like an old phone, didn't it? Like a did like a call
Yeah, it
waiting.
did. That's weird, man.
I don't know.
That's fucking weird.
Maybe when YouTube got notified that we're on, that the CIA plants a bug to see what we're going to talk about.
Well, that's funny because look, I got my Donald Trump fucking little thing here. Donald Trump right
Oh,
there.
does he talk?
Somebody,
Does he have a button to talk
somebody
or
threw
no?
this out, so we found it. And you know what's funny? It's probably, uh, like a liberal. Somebody's friend got it for them. Like, let's say they're like really liberal, and their friend got it
Oh
for them.
yeah.
Like, as a gag, like, this is really funny. So they throw it out. So it's actually a
You know what I
corkscrew.
was
See,
watching? I was watching Russell Brand because I like the Russell Brand YouTube channel.
yeah, I know. I
And,
see
and
that. Yep.
he was actually talking about how they're all coming down on Dave Chappelle again, because Dave Chappelle made trans jokes again and handicap jokes. I'm like, can't people just have a laugh? Because he was talking about how in his latest one he went to meet Jim Carrey. Did you see? But when his friend took him to the set, it was to the Man on the Moon, where Jim Carrey was playing Andy Hoffman. Was it
Oh,
or whatever his name was? Andy, that comedian guy,
right.
was his name?
Andy Kaufman. Yeah.
Yeah, Kaufman.
I,
Yeah. So it's like I go down to the stage set, and out comes Jim Carrey, like he's like a god. And everyone tells him, no, you can't call him Jim, you got to call him Andy, because he's in character. So he wants to be known as Andy the whole time. So he's like, oh, how you going, Andy? And like this, and he's like, and I can't believe it because I'm having to act like it's Andy, but I can clearly see it's Jim Carrey. And he goes on to this whole big thing, and he goes, and that's how I feel about you trans people. When it's like I can clearly see it's something else, but I got to pretend. It's like,
I might have seen that. I just saw him
uh,
do something recently. We had everybody going, but the thing is, hey, listen, what happened to free speech? Free speech isn't free anymore, and,
oh,
you know,
well, the thing I hate about it is, it's like you're like me. I don't care if anyone's trans, gay, whatever. But what I
I don't,
do dislike, I won't say I hate, is my cousin was a transsexual, but for years he went to go to the doctors to make sure this is what you really want. You talk to people. So there's this long process you've got to go through
oh,
before
yeah.
you want to get the sex change and stuff, because that's what he really wanted. Today, it's like, I'm trans today. You look at their page tomorrow. oh, I'm non-binary now. It's like it just seems to be for the clicks, the likes, or that shock value of. If you really wanted to be trans, I think the real trans people who go through the whole operations and that's a big thing to do. But look at Joe. Look, Joe's donated 19.99. Thank you,
Joey,
Joe. At least,
Joe Zapata in the
hey, we're
house.
just
I was
at
just
least.
talking, Joe. I get a.
Oh, now,
You
now,
still
now,
did you?
now, Greg's going to say. Now, Greg's going to say, Lee's not giving me the tips. I'm going to keep it
Lee's
all,
not
Greg.
giving me the
I'm going to
tips,
keep.
guy. No, Joe. I don't know if you
Oh,
saw
God.
that picture of Lee, that video. My God, his arms were, dude. You looked great when you were on stage. You know, when I brought you up on the MD stage. Remember, I was handing you T-shirts and you were throwing them to the audience. It's on video. Your fucking arm, man. You were fucking jacked in this picture. You look phenomenal. You were tight, no body fat. You were like, your waist was small. You were looking in great shape. I remember that day, but you were like huge.
Yeah,
You know.
I get you have to send it to me now. Your phone sometimes breaks up there. Hey, Joe, Jersey J, does Greg sound like he's breaking up to you, or is it my ear pods if I take them out?
It might, but I don't know.
Because
Can
just
you hear me? You're
I
talking
can hear,
clear.
I can hear you, but then there's a little brant, brant, like a not like just like a funny mechanical sound, but maybe only I'm hearing that. But like I said, it's
Do you
my
guys?
first live. It's my first live on here, Lee. You can get same result from resistance beans. Oh yes, you can. Thank you. What the hell are you talking about, resistance beans? You can get the same result from resistance beans if you put them around your neck and lean right back.
Is that
Oh,
from
he
one of
sounds
them guys
okay.
that
Okay,
like
must just be probably it's probably the Wi-Fi here. When the Wi-Fi gets a bit weak, your voice just goes. Dah, dah. I can still understand you. You just sound like
uh,
a Doctor Who Dalek every now and then.
what,
Exterminate, exterminate.
you sound? I
Remember
mean, I can
Doctor
hear
Who?
you clear as day, and I'm talking loud into the camera here. So ask the people. Can you
Okay.
guys hear me clear, or am I breaking up?
No,
Let Lee know
They
because
said it sounds good. No,
it sounds
even
good.
Jersey Joe said you sound okay. Yeah, so
I love Jersey Joe. Joe's a good man. We got to send you that video, Lee. It's fucking crazy, man. It's
yeah.
crazy. You look phenomenal.
I'll have to ask Joe next time because Joe, when I went to the settings, it said when I went live I could only do it vertical for some reason. I tried to click on horizontal and YouTube told me no, you can only go vertical. So
Even though Lee and I've
fuck
done it vertically before. The, the
yeah.
famous Lee Priest Greg Valentino kiss.
We like it vertical. Sometimes we'll even spin around like that. What do they call it? A 69.
Yeah,
We're
and
the
then we
same
get
height,
Jimmy
so
in
it
the
works
middle.
out well.
And then we get Jimmy
Jimmy's
in
at
the
the
middle.
hospital right now. I got to do the confessions later with Jimmy. He's getting
How's
some
he feeling?
heart. Oh, he seemed okay. He was talking okay. He was on his way to the hospital, so I think he was
I'll
just
call him.
parking the truck. So he's going from work to the hospital. So his blood pressure should be really good by the time he gets there.
Dude, I love his Jeep, bro. I love his Jeep. That fucking thing is nice. I wish I had that Jeep. I know he doesn't wish he had my car. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but the thing is, though, he's just leaving work, so he's been at work in the truck all day. You know how stressed he gets at work in the truck. He's going from work straight to the hospital. So I can imagine when they do his blood pressure, they'll be like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh had a big
Oof.
day."
Did they have to? They got to give him a Xanax when he gets there.
Oh,
It gets crazy. I love Jimmy, but what was I gonna
so
say? You
what's
this guy with the over the years, you get a lot of nuts.
you'll be able to tell me, Greg.
What's that?
Huh?
What's that?
I say
Tell
you'll be
you
able to
what.
tell me now what happened with the. I haven't caught up on the closing arguments with the Trump case with the thing. How did that go? Was that yesterday or was that today?
Well, that was yesterday. They were doing a closing argument. See, you know what? Today's Friday for me, but it's Saturday for you, right?
Yeah,
So everything's a
yeah.
little back and forth here. It's good. We're waiting. We're waiting to see what happens with that because if they won't let Trump talk, how could you not be able to talk or even explain yourself at your own
Uh,
trial? You're not going to let a guy talk. It's unbelievable.
uh,
It's
but
unbelievable.
how can you even take some off an election ballot and not give
It's
people the choice? Listen, if people don't like him, they won't vote. Put him on the ballot. It's that simple. If people don't like Trump, they won't tick the box. If they like him, they'll tick it. And I think that's what they're scared of, that people are going to tick that box. It's
well,
like
if I was click this box.
Oh,
But
there he
if
is.
I was him, Lee, I would say to him, listen, you don't like me, you don't want you like the way things are right now. Okay? Then come to vote for Joe Biden again. That's plain. But if
Mm-hmm.
you like the way things were, you were paying $1.82 for gas, half food was half the price. We had a secure border, and we didn't have a bunch of momos running the fucking running it, the military.
Oh,
If you want to go back to that, vote for me. But if you like the way shit is today, you get these liberals. Oh man, we're doing good today. Jobs are better. Bullshit. All they're going from when Trump shut down the economy and everything was down, went down. Well, like the people weren't going to work.
oh
People
yeah.
got laid off, and then they come back. They're saying, "Look, see, we got more jobs." It's just the people going back to work, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're buying
Mm-hmm.
oil. We dug our own oil. There's more oil under this fucking you know country here than anywhere. It's crazy. You know, it's
What
crazy.
what what
But
I what I don't get is I found it funny who's the black who's in charge of defense, the Secretary of Defense, the guy that had the prostate
Lloyd Austin
cancer. He's gone for a month, and the president and them didn't even know. How can you have
didn't
the
know.
guy who's in head of your defense? We've got little wars going on everywhere, and Joe and these people. Oh, where is he? He's been gone a month in the hospital getting prostate. They're like, and one analyst come out and goes, well, that's because it's very personal. Prostate cancer is a personal thing. And I said, look, I understand that, but if I'm the Secretary of Defense, wouldn't you be like, hey, Joe or whoever, Kamala, I got to go into hospital for an operation? You don't tell anybody, and he's gone for weeks, and nobody notices he's gone. It's like,
You know what's funny? He says he didn't tell anybody, but I don't know. I probably told people didn't get back. But regardless, the one guy who's running shit right now, they just had him, the fucking general or whatever he is, was just saying on TV. Well, you know, uh, like a day or two ago, he was saying he didn't tell us and this and that, the other thing. Now he's saying, well, I kind of knew, but I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, you're just trying to backtrack. You're just trying to make it look like, you know what I mean? It's unfucking believable, And people, there's guys who don't like you and I talking about this shit, right? And what you people don't understand is it's going to affect you. You bodybuilders, you everything.
mm-hmm.
Eventually, they'll shut down where protein powder becomes illegal. You guys don't
Oh,
understand
yeah.
that. Okay, they'll make it so you don't go to the gym without a fucking mask on. You remember how that shit was? You're in the gym, you can't breathe as it is, and you're doing a fucking fit. You're like, holy
No.
fuck. Now I had throat cancer. I used to pull the fucking mask down, and people would be like, "Hey, your nose." You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
I'm like, I can't breathe right, because of my throat. So,
No.
but people don't understand that your freedoms, and once it happens here, it's going to happen in other countries. You know that, right? That's the
Oh, yeah.
biggest
Did you see?
problem.
There was actually a I watched the thing. You can catch it. What did I see it on? They had like the WHO, the World Health Organization, the WHO, the big bosses. The woman that was running that sat there a couple of days ago reading this new thing where she stated when there's an outbreak of a pandemic, pretty much what they say goes. If the WHO says you got to shut down your city, you got to shut it down. If the WHO says you got to take this vaccine, you got to take it. If the WHO says we control all the media. They said they're going to get rid of anyone that goes against what they're saying. If they say you got to have this, and someone goes against it, boom, you're removed. I'm thinking, people talk about a new world order. This WHO organization, like they said, as soon as they class something as a pandemic, they have control. This woman's saying over every country, and what they say goes. If they bring in martial law, whatever, each country has to follow what they're saying. I'm like, who the fuck are you people? It's like, Jesus Christ,
It's
you want to start
it's
revolutions and wars in countries? You're going to start it.
Well, you know what, Lee? They want to do the one currency. That shit. Once they start electric currency
Hmm.
and shit, we're all fucked because they can say, "Hey, you're talking shit about the government. Empty his bank account." That's it. They can shut your bank. Look what they did to the
Oh yeah,
truck drivers in Canada. They deleted guys had whole
yeah,
guys worked 30, 40 years as a truck driver, built up fucking $500,000. Like that's my pension for when I retire. They said
oh,
one push of the button, they
yeah,
drained it all out. Not we took it all. Good,
yeah. Just want to
and
say
that'll
hi
come
to
here.
Xavier. Xavier's on here. Hi,
Who?
Xavier from Desktop
Hey,
Bodybuilding.
Xavier.
Maybe Xavier, I should have asked him when I go live on here, and I'm on my phone, Xavier. Maybe I should have been on the computer over there because I can read the comments on both. But Xavier, when I brought Greg on and I had the choice bringing guest on, and it says vertical or horizontal, it said I could only go vertical. So
We're too jacked. We're too jacked. I don't know. But soon they'll tell you what you can do in the bedroom. What's that?
where'd you go? There you are.
I see you. You didn't go. I don't know. I see me
Oh, you're
clear. It might be
oh, there
your
you are.
phone or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, it must be because I was on Wi-Fi and now my Wi-Fi's dropped and it went to 5G. Now my Wi-Fi is back.
You can hear me good,
And you
right?
froze again on me. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
you're freezing. Yeah, I can hear you, but I think it's my phone. It's dropping from 5G to Wi-Fi and back to 5. You know what it probably is? My fucking cats get out there sometimes, and I go to the modem, and the fuckers are chewing on the cords. I've had to replace that cord so many times. My cat's probably out there fucking chewing on the Wi-Fi
That's what you
modem.
get when you got aggressive pussy in that house. I think people like hearing us talk about that shit, our crazy sex shit. But
Yeah, that's
if these
probably what
guys,
was
can you
happening because
guys?
I noticed.
They could tell you if they're having
Yeah,
trouble. Like they'll say we don't see him or
yeah. Well, they
he's
said
freezing.
I went mute for a minute. I went. I, Yeah, I went mute for a minute because I think that's when my Wi-Fi switched to 5G and then it switched back. It just cut my signal.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, you're perfect, and I see myself talking perfect. I don't know what's. They would tell
Mm.
you though. These guys would
I'm
be
not.
like, they'll.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't see
You
anything. If you
suck.
guys are
We can't
talking,
hear you. Fucking sound sucks. Screw you.
who said that? They can't hear. Can they
No,
hear you and I? Or
that yeah, they can. There's one guy. There's one guy I had a go at him before because he keeps asking the same question. Now this is his question. Let me explain it to you. He tells me, if you could only do 10 exercises to maximize muscle growth, which ones would you do? Lee said he would only focus on Kegel exercises because he's being smart now because he asked that and he said, this is the most asked question. He said he's seen lots of pros ask this question. So I said, if you've seen lots of pros ask this question, why are you asking me? If the 10 best exercises are basic ones and the ones that work for you. So why keep
that's the whole
asking
problem.
people the same fucking thing?
That's the whole problem. Whoever said that, listen to me, bro. What Lee does, what I do, what Lee Haney did, what fucking, what Ronnie Coleman did, everybody's different. One guy loves squats, another guy hates squats. One guy loves bench, another guy, you can't go by that. One guy will tell you, barbell curls built my biceps. Another guy will tell you
Mhm,
concentration curls, preacher back. You got to find out yourself, bro. There's no recipe. If there was a
mhm,
recipe, if like we could all say, look, this is Arnold's recipe, right? Here's what he did. I'm going to do every one of these exercises, set for set, rep for rep, and I'm going to look
exactly.
like Arnold. There's no rest. We all have different muscle tie-ins, so and different fibers. So it's all
Mhm,
different. Our genetics are different, so you have to find out what's right for you. Just like the guy with the
mhm.
band.
It's
I
like,
hate when I get. Do you ever get guys that are like still into that weird mindset? They'll still ask you, "Well, what did you think
mm,
about George Efferman? Remember when he was like 1956? He was Mr. American." I'm like, dude, what are you bringing up these old body? You ever get guys like that? They do that shit. They bring up these like really,
oh
really
yeah.
old.
It's like, I, I,
I
I
think
even, I even hate the ones that say, I hate the ones that ask you, what is your favorite anything? What is your favorite food? What is your favorite movie? I'm like, if you can say you got one favorite, you're a dickhead because when it comes to food, you might have a favorite Italian dish, but then I have a favorite American, like maybe it's steak and
right.
potatoes or pancakes, and then Chinese. And when it comes to movies, you have action, horror, drama, real life. I said, out of all the movies that have been made, how can you pick one and say that's my absolute favorite? Just say you said Training Day, Denzel Washington, but then there's so many other great Denzel movies, and then there's so many other great Clint Eastwood movies and Gene Hackman movies. It's like these people that say you can only have one. It's like favorite. It's like
Well, it
why
depends
narrow
on.
yourself down like that? You can't have one favorite. There's too many good
No, it
ones.
depends on the like. What about like songs? Like if you're in a like somber mood,
Mm.
sometimes you want to hear "I'm All Out of Love," like fucking Air
Oh,
Supply,
Air
and then the next
Supply,
minute you
Air
want to hear
Supply.
something badass, right?
I know Air Supply. You're singing Air Supply there. I got it.
Yeah, man. So what I'm saying is, it
Even the
depends on your
nights
mood.
are better now that
Yeah,
we're here
right.
together.
If you've ever had drama, if you've had trouble in your love life, That's the shit. You listen to that and like Barry Manilow or something. But then
Oh,
when
I
fucking
love Barry
you're getting in
Manilow.
the gym,
I was doing cardio. I was doing cardio one day, and Arnold and Eddie Giuliani come past me and go, "What are you listening to?" Because that's the only time I'd really listened to music. And when I handed it to him, actually Barry Manilow was on, and Arnold's like, "You listen to this?" I just find some of those songs that they might not be rock heavy metal, but sometimes there's songs that like are uplifting and have like a spiritual feeling to them, or something like that. Like it's when I used to like when Phil Hill was it Phil? Yeah, Phil Hill posed the music of the night, Phantom of the Opera. Remember, it was so
yes, I do.
graceful, and he done the splits. You see this massive guy posing to classical music. It was like moving, you know.
I loved when he did that. In the spirit of that, and I remember that. I remember Phil Hill doing that. I remember Phil Hill very well. But I used to go when you said that, you must have been in World's Gym, because what I loved about World's Gym back in like
No
1981,
music.
the real World's Gym where you were upstairs. Remember the fucking parking lot
Hmm.
downstairs? No music. No music. You want to hear
Yep.
music? You listen to a fucking. I love that
Hmm.
because I don't listen to music when I train.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I train to like sports radio, or I train if I'm talking at home, or when I used to own the gym, I would turn off all the music at night and I'd fucking listen to either like
Hmm.
sports, or put that on the television shit while I'm training. I like to see athletic shit, but
Yeah.
that's just me. I don't listen like
I know.
music like that. But
Yeah.
back in the day, that's the one thing I really loved
I
about
know.
World's
It's
Gym.
like
It was small. What
somebody was
happened?
asking who was that. Uh, I'm just putting the guy in timeout. He can go in timeout for 24 hours. Oh, this is great. I can control this. The guy that's asking the dumb questions. Oh, he's gone. What a shame. He's probably going to kill himself now. But yeah, I remember somebody asked who was the guy in the wheelchair. That was Joe Gold. If you dropped the weights or you made a loud noise, he would come flying out that wheelchair. If you're a tourist, he'd throw the money at you. Get the fuck out of my gym. He'd go off.
He used to love me. He used to call me the man with the New York tan. I was at his 70th birthday party. I got pictures. I was at his 70th birthday party. And that's where Franco Colombo was like hitting on my ex-wife. But that's neither here nor there. But Joe Gold, bro, was a genius. But I used to fucking be like Botswana slave boy with them too. Because upstairs, when you go in and right to the right, they had that little, the little front desk, that tiny. Up on the top, they had a pull down attic, right? And
Hmm.
I used to have to help Eddie Giuliani put fucking shirts up there and sweatshirts and everything. And then when it would
Hmm.
come time and I wanted one, he charged me. It's fucked
What
up.
about Zabo? I used to love it. When Zabo would work in the afternoon, it was so funny because Eddie would do the morning and that Joe would leave. Zabo would come on at lunchtime. As soon as Zabo got in the office, he'd get out a book, he'd take the phone off the hook and just sit there reading and then fall asleep. So many times about 3:30, Joe comes down, he hears his car pull up. Put that fucking phone on the hook. I've been trying to call you. Because back then didn't have mobile phones. It was just the normal pick-up dial
Right.
phone. And so everybody's like, he'd just fall asleep and people would be walking past the counter. That was funny. They were the good old
I
days.
remember. I love that gym. I remember Zabos. He's still alive. I used to see him. He'd be wearing sunglasses sometimes in the gym when he was training and shit. Is he still alive? Do you know or no? I know that
I'm
Giuliani
not
just
sure.
died.
Yeah, I'm going to take these out.
Okay. Can you hear me
Can you
now?
still hear me okay?
Oh, I hear you. Good. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. I was saying, is Zabo still alive?
He'd probably have to be passed on now because, yeah, because Eddie passed away just before I got that award at Venice Beach. So that was like a year or so ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, a year or so ago. Yeah. And
Yeah,
Zabo was older than Eddie. I'm pretty sure of it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I think sadly, remember, used to call him Chucky, Gordon Mitchell, the tour guide that used to help Joe a lot. He'd been in. If you look up Gordon Mitchell, he was in so many like Western movies overseas, and he was in a lot of those spaghetti westerns. He had that real. If you see him in a movie, he looks like the bad guy in a Western movie. Gordon
Yeah.
Mitchell. They used to call him Chucky. He used to help Joe all the time, and he actually did that many movies. He owned land over there in Italy, Rome, and they used to hate it because this American owned it
Yeah.
land in Rome and that sort of shit. It's like they weren't too happy about it.
Yeah. There were the
Yes,
gym
yes, I
goats
have.
that took
Somebody
her.
asked me. Yeah, somebody
Go
asked me
ahead.
if I owned a Holden Maloo. A Holden Maloo I owned when I moved back here the first time. It's a Holden Maloo is
What?
like a Ute type pickup truck, but it was like one of the fastest here.
You're in
Lee, I
Melbourne.
know someone asked the question. I know you didn't guest pose as much compared to other guys at the time, but what are some of the cities you enjoyed travelling back to in the 90s? Oh, sounds like I'm fucking going back to the future. I don't. I remember I pretty much went to all the cities, whether it be for guest posing or just expos and appearances. I wouldn't say I didn't like. Oh, I remember going to. I went to Fargo, North Dakota, in the middle of winter. I liked it, but one day when that wind was blowing, because I love the cold, but wind chill. Oh my god, that wind chill can blow straight through the bones. It's like, ooh. And then another time I was down in Mississippi in the middle of summertime and the humidity. It's like you just walk out your door and you're like, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
don't. I'd rather have the humidity. The cold just doesn't do it with me. I'm in New York right now, freezing my nuts off. You know what
no,
I'm
no.
saying?
Did
It's
you get much snow around you there or?
a little bit, not bad, not bad. You know, because we're in New York City. You know, on suburb of New York City, but it's not bad here. But upstate, holy shit, they get like feet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my boy Big Frank, I think he's up there in Buffalo. Man, that shit, they get like, oh, it's gonna snow like 5 feet. I'm like, bro, I'd move the fuck out of
Mm-hmm.
there. You know, I could not.
Yeah.
I can't handle here. You know, much less.
I
Yeah,
got
it's
it.
when you
I
get
got it.
younger, it's a different
Mhm.
story. You're resilient.
And people have to let people know too. With my YouTube channel now, I did have somebody helping me do it, but I did that podcast with Phil Widener the other day with Sam Sulek and that because they got us to meet because I've always supported Sam. But the guy who did my channel then cut that video a bit, 10 minutes of it, even though it was only 10 minutes, but it only had me and Sam on it. You could hear Fawad's voice and then he cut them out. So, Fawad politely asked me what happened, why was it like that? I said, look, I didn't know the guy was going to do that, because I get on good with Fawad and everyone. I don't like to rock the boat. I love going on his podcast and shooting the shit. So I said, let me get a hold of the guy who put it up and stuff. And I deleted it, got it deleted. And then the person who did my YouTube channel just sent me a message saying, I can't work with someone like this that doesn't have my back and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, but you didn't ask me about putting that up and stuff, run it by me first because, for what I said, I could have put it up, maybe later, not the same day he's posting the actual interview. I could have
Right.
used some, but it just sounds weird having me and Sam because you can hear Fuad and Mike's voices too, but it almost looked like I was interviewing Sam, which wasn't the case. I was on Fuad's bro chat. So because I took it down, had it deleted, I got this big long message saying I can't work with you anymore. You don't have my back and that. And I thought he was pretty good. You know the guy that was doing it for me, so
Well, he should have fucking told you first. You can't have a guy
yeah,
around you, fucking Momo, that's like,
yeah,
doing his own, like, picking and choosing what
yeah.
it's like it's your, he should have said, Lee,
I
look,
know. Well,
I
I
put
did. He did help in the last few days. I got like extra 4,000 followers, and he did that edling on all the other little ones that came up. And well, I mean, he used to. We won't say the name, but he used to do the produce the RX shows and that.
oh shit. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But then he just
But
snapped. Then he just snapped and went, oh, went, fucking hell.
holy Christ, our DRX fucking stuff. People don't realize, that we know sometimes when you do the RX, we talk about it beforehand, so we know what we're going to talk about. Everybody thinks,
Yeah.
but it's that, I mean, I love everybody on that show. We're all brothers
Yeah.
and everything, but it's, we all have different things. Like Lee and I are a little bit more looser thinking, and a little bit off the hook. We
we
got to
make
watch what we say.
Dave sweats when we come on the show because
Oh
he,
yeah,
uh,
so does
do
John.
you know, actually it's funny. I was talking to Jimmy this morning because we've got to do the confession show, and Jimmy got a call from Dave. I think you and Lee need to tone down on this and tone down on that bit. I'm thinking, I said, it's hard to tone down because we don't plan anything. We like to be natural and just spontaneous. And if a question
Right.
comes up or a topic comes up, it's hard to censor myself because my brain would think of something and I just say it. And look, people in this industry or people that follow, by now they know what I'm like. They know what Greg's like, the way you think, the way you talk on that sort of thing. We don't intentionally go out to offend someone, but if you're asking us questions, I don't want to censor my answer or have to tippy toe around it because you might get offended. If you know the way Greg and I are and you see us on a show, don't watch us if you don't like the way we are and stuff. It's like it's that simple.
Hey, listen, guys, let me tell you something. When Dave, I still talk to Big Rob. Big Rob just
Mm-hmm.
put up a video with me, and he says, listen, because he was bullied on there. It was terrible. And those guys were bullying the shit out of him, and I felt really bad, and I told all of them, privately back behind the scenes, I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of arguing with a few of them over that shit because Big Rob was bullied. I'm not going to put up with
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't bully anybody. He didn't.
I was
Don't
always
ask him.
wondering where Big Rob had gone lately.
But
I haven't
Lee,
seen.
don't put somebody on the show that you don't like. Like, don't tell the guy and he's coming on
Mm-hmm.
a show all the time and then put him down. I don't
Oh,
like
I
that.
said, yeah,
Don't.
you don't put someone on a show just to be like the doormat and kicking posts for
No,
laughs.
no, yeah, I didn't like that. And John kept saying, "Well, he's our like the guy that we beat up." And I'm like, "We don't need
Mm.
somebody beat up. That's not
Yeah,
fair to
but
him." And so you
that's
guys out there,
okay. That's okay. Yeah, well, that's okay if it's give and take. But Rob's not that type of person. Rob would just come
no,
on and talk. Rob
they
doesn't.
ambushed him.
Yeah,
They ambushed the shit. The guy was like, he'd say, "Look, my RX brothers," and they'd be like, "Don't wait a minute, you're not one of the brothers." Like, you don't do that to the guy. That's not right.
I
And I'm gonna
remember
tell
that
you something.
shows now. Yeah, he's like, you're not in the fucking team. You don't call yourself one of our brothers and shit like that. It was like it was just general. You can tell he didn't mean it, as in, it was
No,
like,
but they were attacking him bad. I mean, they were bringing up his family and children. I don't like. Look, you can say what you want about me. Lee, you're the same way. But if
I'm
somebody
saying.
starts talking shit about your mom or your wife or keep it at me, but don't bring family. You know what I mean? I never bash
I'm
anybody's
moving the
family.
other. I think I'm moving the other way because I started at such a young age, and even from 17, people would bag me or my mother with steroids and that, and then 19, 20, when my daughter was born, I'd get the same thing. And then when my daughter started her Facebook page when she was 14 or 15, oh, Lee, I'm banging your daughter and stuff. I just laugh at them because
Oh,
even if they bring in my daughter and mother now, I'm just like, really? I hope you paid her well because, my mum owes me a few bucks. So I hope you left some money. I just play along with it now because I'm like, you know what?
yeah, but
But if they
I
know if
don't
they
like
said it in
guys that do that
person,
though.
if they said it in person, would be a different thing. But when they just write it online, I'm like, internet tough guy. It's like it'd be different coming up to your face saying,
Oh yeah,
I fucked your mother and daughter and shit." Then it'll be a different story. But
let me tell you something.
online, I'm just like, yeah, very funny. You think you're untouchable online.
Do it to my daughter. My daughter
Yeah.
fights MMA and she's tough and
Uh-huh.
she could fight. She could fight really, 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 really well. Trust
Oh,
me.
thank
In
you, YouTube
Brazilian
Dave,
Jiu
for the
Jitsu.
$10. Look,
Who
there's
gave
ten
$10?
dollars. Yeah, look at that.
Who's that? I
YouTube
can't see
Dave,
shit.
thank you.
Thank you, whoever
Don't
that
say I
was.
love you. Don't say I love you, Jimmy and Greg. I'm not sending them any of the money. I'm going to be like Dave. I've got. I'm 2% Jewish. I'm not giving out any of this money. I'm keeping it all.
Shit. No, and you guys, let me just tell you guys watching this. When me, Lee, and if Jimmy around, we're all the way you see us here is exactly the way we are when there's no camera. We actually fuck around, talk dirty, foul shit. You know what I'm saying? When we're together, we have fun, we laugh, we say things.
Mhm.
We're very, exactly the way we are is exactly
Well,
the
that's
way
how
we
we're
are.
on here. Because sometimes when we're on here, it's almost like when it's you, me, Jimmy. It's almost like we're on the phone talking. We forget that it's being recorded and people are listening.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's just how we are.
Jim.
Somebody asked about, yes, we do have the Dodge Challengers and Chargers in Australia, but a Dodge Charger Hellcat here is like 295,000. If you want the Dodge Challenger Red Eye Hellcat one here, I think you're looking at over 300,000. The new Corvettes in Australia start about 280,000. So yes, we
You
do have
guys
the
are asking.
American.
You're asking about shit like that. Lee sends fucking videos one time of like 1,000 big giant bats to my girlfriend. Do
Oh,
you remember that?
oh yeah, yeah. They were flying over the other day, and I was thinking I got to film them again because in America the bats are like this. These bats, the wingspan can be like
Oh yeah.
5 foot wide, and they actually
He
look like
sent this
in the
video.
Batman movies when Batman wraps his cape around himself. That's how they look when they're hanging upside down.
Lee sent this video to my girlfriend. He texted her a video. I think what did you film it in your backyard? or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw these fucking giant bats. They look like monkeys with wings. They look like the
yeah.
shit that was flying around in
The Wizard of Oz.
over there in like yeah, Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
here
the funny
comes the
thing is,
fucking
it's like if people want to Google, they actually call, even though they're a bat, they call him a flying fox because when you look at the
yes,
face, when you look at the face of them, they look like a they look like a
fox.
fox. It looks like a little fox with fucking huge wings, but the wings are so transparent. But we have hundreds of them. They migrate at night time. They leave the mangroves and head to God knows where. Then in the morning, you see them all flying back. So
See, that's the thing that I like about Australia is you got it's like a landlocked fucking time fucking
mm,
you know what I'm saying? You got animals and bugs and fucking insects and shit over there that we've never seen before that are
fucking
nowhere else on the earth, you know?
inbred weirdo people like this. They won't let me out the country.
Ah, shit. But it's fucking, you know. I mean, like I find that shit amazing. But when you sent those pictures of those bats, I was like, holy fuck! You know, and it was a video that Lee took, guys. In case you're
Mm,
wondering, it wasn't something he took off the internet. It was something he filmed himself. He sent it to my girlfriend, and she's like, look at the size of these
mhm.
bats. Oh my god, I'd shit my pants if I'd run in. I wouldn't even go outside because I know
I
that
know.
once in a while one of them things get rabid, and if they see a human, they'll come at you and try to bite you, so you get
Well, I got
rabies and shit.
there's a guy right. He come to a car show and he's got one of those hot rods, almost like the Munsters car. You know, one of those hot rod
Oh, I
Munster
love that.
cars.
Yeah.
The big motor up front, just the windscreen. As he was coming to the car show, he got there and it's like a mess. He had scratches. He goes, I think I got to go to the hospital. One of those big bats, as he's going down the highway, flew into the fucking car because it's got no windows and doors. And he's
Oh,
fucking trying to get it out while he's driving down the road. He's got this big fucking bat in the car.
yeah, but you know what though? You got to get a rabies shot if they
Oh,
even
yeah.
touch you,
Mm-hmm.
because if you get rabies, bro, you're done, and it's an ugly death.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it might not come out today. It could take a week, or it could take. There's people who've been bitten like 9 years ago, and it
Oh,
sits
yeah.
in them, and once comes out, you're fucked. So you got to get rabies shot.
Yeah.
But you
Somebody
know, did you
asked
ever
me a
fight a
smog.
kangaroo over there? Did you ever box with a
Oh,
kangaroo?
no. I had some go. I had a video once. Where was it? There's a farm you can go to up here and feed them. If you get there first thing in the morning, the fuckers are so hungry, and you have like this puff wheat. I had a handful of puff wheat once. This one grabs my hand and I tried to pull away. The fucker locked on. As I'm pulling away, he goes to rear up to kick me. Another one come over and fucking kicked him. I grabbed out. I moved out the way. Next thing, this kangaroo's got the other kangaroo in a fucking headlock. They're on the fucking ground. I was like, it's like almost watching wrestlers and people fight, but they're fucking animals the way they go.
I seen him.
Oh,
I saw a dude punch a kangaroo. The kangaroo was putting a chokehold on his dog,
oh yeah, I
and
saw
the
that
guy
one. Yeah,
punched. You saw it, right? The guy punched the thing in the face really hard.
and
The
the
kangaroo
kangaroo goes.
stepped
The
back.
kangaroo goes like, like
He even stepped back and it had his fucking hands up. He was ready to throw hands with him, like Mike Tyson and shit. That
uh,
was fucking crazy.
thank you
But
over
how
to
did that?
Rogue. Thank you over to Rogue for 4.99. And there was a question in Australia. We don't really get smog checks. We have to get an inspection. If your car's over 5 years old, you got to get an inspection every year. And another rip-off in Australia, you can get your car insured, right? Comprehensive insurance. It covers you if you hit somebody else or they hit you. But then we have another one called third party, which money sort of goes to the government. So if you're in an accident, then they pay out some money as well. So because when I moved back home, I got car insurance. They're like, "Where's your third party insurance?" I'm like, "What do you mean third party? I'm fully covered." No, you got to have this insurance as well. I'm like, "What a fucking scam! I've got to have two loads of insurance for the same fucking car." I'm like, "Fuck
That's
off."
like living here in New York. When you get a cell phone in New York, you pay. We don't, you know, if even if you don't live in a city, you have to pay a New York City tax. There's like a New York
Hmm.
State tax, another second New York State. By the time you look at your bill, you know, what I mean, everything in New York is fucked up like that.
Well,
You
then
know.
when I get my car registration, like I just got another just runaround car the other day, and say like it's $8,000. Now I got to go down and transfer the car from the car yard's name to my name. You think that'd be $50? No, they charge you 3% on every dollar, so it's going to be like $360. Now, if I turn around and sold that, even though it's got 6 months registration still on it, you got to pay the full registration fee. Now, if I turn around and sell that to someone in 2 months, he has to then go down, pay the full register. So they could sell the same car 5 times, and the government gets the 5 registration fees in the 1 year for the same fucking car. But what
because
gets
they
me
don't
so
care.
you buy a car for say $100,000. Now you've got to pay 3% on every dollar to register it. And every year you've got to pay the same thing. But I'm thinking every year the car depreciates. So why am I still paying my registration on a car that cost me this much when 6 years later it might only be worth 60,000? Why doesn't the registration fee come down? It's
Because
fucking.
they have you by the balls. You know what I mean? It's just like my house tax here. They keep going up and up and
Yeah,
up, and I'm
I don't
like,
get that either. I just saw a house here for sale, and it said the land rates were like 1,595 per quarter. Here we pay them quarterly, so every what for 4 months, 3 months.
I pay quarterly too,
Yeah,
because I don't
but
have a
it's like
mortgage.
15. It was $1,500, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. If I come along and there's a house for sale, house and land, I buy the house and land. So now why, once I've brought the house and land, I got to pay you quarterly land rates for a place that I fucking own?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Uh,
Well, you
well, here
don't
in
own the
Australia
land.
too, number plates. I got a
What's that?
number plate here. If you say you
Oh
want
yeah,
red on your number plate, you got to pay $500 to get the number plate made. Which, okay, that's understandable if you want a special name on it. But then every year you got to pay 500, whereas a normal number plate is only $50 a year. But because you got a special plate, you've got to pay five
that's here
hundred
too.
dollars. Yeah, it's fucking,
That's here in New York
fucking,
too. Same shit.
it's
Same shit.
fucking.
You know what I mean? But what are you gonna do? They got you by the balls until you can get the
Mhm.
fuck out of here. I'm
We
still
can
paying school
modify.
tax.
We can modify cars. Somebody said, but modification here. I'm lucky having the older car because I got stopped once by a cop the other day because my old '68 Camaro just has the lap belt. So there's no belt coming over my shoulder. So this cop goes past and he looks, I've got someone, hasn't got their seatbelt on, pulls me over. He looks in and goes, oh, okay, you do. Because he didn't see it
I
coming
was
across
driving
here,
him.
because that model had it across just the lap belt, that's okay. But yeah, normally here people try and lower their cars too much. The cops get out, they've got a special measuring thing. They slide under the car if it can't go under, or they will have a decibel meter, rev your car if your car's too loud. If they want to be assholes, they can get you for anything if they want.
Dude, I got pulled over. I did Generation Iron. I was in New York, Midtown Manhattan. Because
Mm-hmm.
Generation Iron's in the 20s, on the 20s. So I'm coming through like around, right around literally 42nd Street, right there. I was, I think, on 41st and 8th Avenue. It's fucking packed. And this guy's going through the red lights and shit, right? And then a cop pulls me over, this Asian guy, because I didn't have my seatbelt kept popping. It's in the fucking Honda car. The seatbelt was broken. If you push your stomach out, the fucking thing would pop off. It was up here on me, and I couldn't pull it back down. And he's like, he gives me a ticket for that. And I go, motherfucker, these guys are going through the red lights. You got savages mugging
Mm-hmm.
people on the corner there, right in front of the cops. And you're worried about me driving. First of all, I'm in standstill traffic. You understand?
Uh-huh.
It takes a fucking half hour to get to the next block. And you're worried about me wearing his fucking seatbelt. And I am wearing it. It just popped. It's up here. He didn't give a fuck. He gave me a ticket anyway. You know what I mean? I'm like, and you're in New York City where there's savages everywhere, and
No.
you're worried about some fucking guy in standstill traffic.
Someone's been mugged on the street. Yeah, go ahead. I got a seatbelt violator over here.
Yeah, right.
Oh my
It's
god.
ridiculous, man. It's that
Uh,
city. It's ridiculous here, but
uh,
whatever. It's
but
fucking nuts.
I was watching a few videos yesterday of Trump out and about, and uh, this is what annoys me about the media. It's like, how can the media deny everywhere I see Trump go, people love him of all races. He's got the crowds there yelling out Trump. They're all going crazy. Yeah, look at that. I'll have to get
Just for
myself a
you guys,
Trump.
but
I want to get a Trump doll that when you push it, it plays the YMCA music.
and he does that dancing.
Yeah,
It goes like this when he talks, right?
yeah. I saw something funny today on Instagram. It had Joe Biden coming off the helicopter, walking across the lawn at the White House, and a missile comes down and goes boom. And when the smoke clears, there's Donald Trump dancing to the
I know.
YMCA song.
Who makes these things up, though? I always say I see some of the greatest ones where they have whole movie scenes where guys fighting everybody, and it's Trump kicking dudes' asses. I'm like, who the fuck made this shit? The funniest. I could send you some crazy ones, and you're like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying?
With AI, I
It's
think with
fucking
AI
funny.
now, I think if Biden never got back in, Biden for the next 4 years would be AI because he couldn't be coherent for the next 4 years to
He'd
even.
be in a hospital bed somewhere. But then you have the
Mhm,
AI version of him, fucking
mhm,
pounding his fist. You know, he's
mhm.
an ass. He's a fucking. And any of you people that support him, you
I
got to
like, I
be
like when he
kidding me.
sits down with world. Let's just say you're a world leader and I'm Joe Biden. I sit down with you.
And he starts nodding off.
Now I got my paper. It's very good to be here today with
Pause.
Greg Valentino, Prime Minister of
Valentine, Valentino, yeah,
Valentino of,
Valentini.
of Chesney. It's like he doesn't even know who he's talking to or what he's talking about. It's like Donald Trump would just walk straight out and talk. Whatever he came out. He'd answer questions from people. Like, could you imagine Joe? Yeah, we don't like getting political, but seriously, could you imagine if they had a debate, Joe on stage and Trump on stage? Joe would be like just obliterated. He wouldn't know what to come back with. He'd just be there
Oh,
like,
he couldn't come back. He can't come.
"What's?"
Dude, he was in that fucking movie, I think Bigger, Stronger, Faster that I did, right? I think there was a scene
Mhm.
of him. But I know that I don't know if they cut this one out, but I know there was a
Yeah.
scene where he was saying, these steroids, guys when I was in college were taking them. And that's the reason why I couldn't make the football team because these guys were taking steroids
Oh,
and I didn't. And I was like, dude, you've never played football in your fucking life. Are you fucking joking me? Like he was on the football team, but he got cut because the juiced up guys got the job. You know what I mean? I'm like, get the
that's
fuck out of here.
that's as good as his story about the guy on the Amtrak train and all the other fucking stories that he's come out with that
Corn popper.
the
Yeah.
date lines don't add up. It's like
He's so
when I was there back years ago when I met the president of China, I told him how I helped build the Great China Wall. Me and Xing Jinping and Jing Zhong, we used to work very hard putting that wall together. I was like,
and he's
you think
another
that?
guy. I used to drive a Mack truck. I remember when I was
Oh,
flying planes. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like he does that shit. He always like, yeah, I drove a plane. I've driven planes.
mm,
I
mm.
remember I worked for a Mack truck, and my daddy used to say to me, Joey, how are you going to drive a Mack truck for the rest of your life? So then I started driving trains. And I was an engineer. I was an engineer on a Amtrak. You didn't know that? He does all that shit.
The sad thing is, I think he actually believes it. That's the sad thing. I think in his
Well,
mind, these stories are fucking real.
if you
And then
tell a
you got
bullshit story long enough, you start believing your own bullshit. That's when you're
uh,
fucked.
someone
But the
said,
stupid shit like
what
corn
planet
pop
am
and
I
all that.
from?
What's
I'm
that?
from. Someone asked me what planet am I from. I'm from Krypton.
Hey guys, you guys don't believe this. Lee will tell you. When Jimmy really believes the whole flat Earth shit's no
Oh
joke.
yeah.
He's
Hmm.
making believe.
Well,
He'll
I said
actually
him
argue with you.
yes. Monday I was out walking. Perfect timing. I'm just walking past the beach. The sun's just come up over the horizon. So the sun is say 6 o'clock, full sun above the ocean, and up here is just the crescent of the moon. So I sent the video to Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, how can the sun be fully here and I only see this little bit of the moon? I said, the earth that I'm standing on is not blocking the sun and the moon. Where's the shadow coming from? Next thing, an hour later, I get a video back from Jimmy. Jimmy's got the big light on his desk, a big ball on a stick. He's like, Lee, let me show you. This is the moon and that's the sun. And this is, he did a big experiment. He's like, all fucking bullshit. All fucking bullshit.
You guys don't understand. He actually, I've had talks with him way years ago. We used to talk about this shit, and he
Mhm.
gets very emotional about it. He gets
Yeah.
he believes that stuff. But the Earth is,
But
whatever.
there
I
are a
mean,
few things that he does say sometimes, and you do go,
yeah,
that could be. But it's even like the one
yeah,
where you figure, even just something basic, when you really think about it, because I never did before, it's like he says, when we stand here on the earth, right, and have those big full moons, like the blood moons or the blue moons, and you watch it come up, like the moon is so fucking massive, like, you can see the craters on it with the naked eye. You can just see everything on the moon. But yet, the earth is like how many times bigger than the moon, aren't we? Like, let's just say we're 6 times bigger than the moon.
right,
When they stood on the fucking moon looking back at Earth, it was like a tiny little marble. But if we
right.
stand on the Earth looking at the moon and the moon's massive, standing on the moon looking back at Earth, shouldn't the Earth be like, oh my God, I can see Africa? I can see fucking You know,
Well,
it's
no,
like,
I've seen shit from space where you could see lights on Earth. I mean,
oh
it's
yeah,
a.
yeah, but
I
they're
guess it
zoomed in a
depends on
bit.
whatever scope that they're showing you. The moon from.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about
Sometimes
the
you can look
naked
at shit in
eye.
a mirror in a car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just
I,
talking
I,
if you're
I,
standing there with the naked eye, like how we stand. Just if you just stand in your backyard and watch the moon, some nights it's massive. Just standing on the moon alone with the Earth there, shouldn't the Earth be massive? Shouldn't
well,
it
I
be
don't know.
like,
I never stood on the moon, but I can tell you, I don't know. You're only looking at. Sometimes they take pictures of the scope because they want it to look like you want. They want to show you the whole, not like half of the Earth. Like
oh
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying. So I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. But I know that from space, if there's enough lights, you can see like
oh yeah,
lights. Like, oh, there's
oh
New
yeah.
York City. It's fucking lit up and shit.
And I know, and I've known from watching lots of movies in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
my friend is an astronomer, and
Sigourney Weaver found that out with Aliens because that was the title on every Aliens movie. In space, no one can hear you scream.
there's no sound because there's no. There needs to be air and molecule, all that
Yeah,
bullshit.
and this is what I've always said. That I always say this to Jimmy. There must be somebody, like the Flat Earth Society, like they all have their own little groups and that. The Flat Earth Society, there must be some guy who is. I'm sure I should ask Jimmy, the leading expert on flat Earth. There has to be some guy, isn't there? Isn't there? There has to be one guy who is the to
Well,
go
didn't
to guy.
didn't Dave had some guy on, and I
Yeah,
remember I
well,
was trying to.
even someone like that, if they get, why can't they get a guy who is like ranked as these are the two people to go to, like like a Jordan Peterson or an Elon Musk. So let's just say Elon Musk was the flat Earth guy. If you were like someone like NASA or Richard Branson or someone, wouldn't you say, okay, you've been going on with this long enough, you got all these theories. Next shuttle that's going up, we're going to put you on it. Why wouldn't you just send the leading authority on flat Earth? Say, listen, we'll shoot you into outer space. That way you can see for yourself. Then that would be the argument over. Done. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, man. Oh yeah. But the thing is, the flat Earth guys can never tell you what's on the end or what's underneath. You know what I mean? Like, well, what's underneath? I don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know because nobody's ever been there. Why can't we go
brick
there? You know,
foundations were just hanging and sitting there on a table.
it's like 2x4s and shit, like
Yeah.
like in a porch.
That's why we
I
get
don't know.
earthquakes. That's why we get earthquakes, Greg. They're just reinforcing the foundations that have been there for 1,000 years.
That's what he said. You know what's funny? You ask him, "But you believe in aliens?" Yeah, they come from the other side of like the glacier and shit that we've
Oh,
never been
the
to.
ice
Whatever.
wall. The ice wall.
The ice wall. The ice wall. You're right. The ice wall. But that's just as nuts as the people. Well, we really shouldn't talk about global climate change on here because then we don't want to
Uh,
get to
but
kibosh.
isn't it funny? They just wait for a hot day. And lately, there's been a lot of places around the world that have been experiencing the coolest temperatures ever. And it's like, but that's what they say. Look,
NASA
they went from global warming to climate change, and technically, you are correct. The climate changes. It changes every
always.
day, every month, every year. It's been doing it for millions of years. It goes in cycles. Somebody rang in the radio station or last week. He said back in the early 40s here in Australia. But they're saying, oh, it's so bad now. Our rivers are going to dry up. We won't have water. Yet we've just had some of the biggest floods and people have lost all their homes. These lakes will be empty within 10 years. 10 years later, they're the ones that are just flooded and flooded out a whole town. But yet, there's like back in the 40s, this guy said, we went through a period where it was in over 50 degrees Celsius for like 7 days. There was no water. Things did dry up. And then later on, it rained. It's like, to me, the whole climate thing, yes, climate changes. I'd be more worried about rubbish, like the shit that goes in the ocean, plastics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Focus on
polluting is
that.
ball game.
Pollu-
Yeah,
fo- Focus on pollution. This whole climate change where we're trying to get rid of zero carbons, it's like, please, come on. It's like, people need electricity, but those power stations in China now too. Yeah, that
but every
developed.
time.
Everything that goes into the atmosphere from them is just pretty much steam because it goes through
Well,
such a process now. There's no pollution coming out of them.
China's building fucking coal shit, and every
Yeah.
day they're all
And
like,
India.
"Look at the fucking America." They're believing
Mm.
all that shit. But
But
what
that's like
people don't
Australia.
realize,
Yeah, we just
even
closed down.
what's that?
We just closed down like one or two power stations a couple of months ago. And guess what
Same
happened in
here.
some of the cities? Because it's summertime now and everyone's getting hot, they turned all their air conditioners and shit on. A couple of these places had massive blackouts because we don't have the power to sustain the load
that people need because we closed down these things. And they even said if Australia closed every power station, we took every car off the road, we're only like 0.0000. It would make no effect on the whole world whatsoever. Like you said, China, India, and all these places are building power stations every day.
every
And the
day.
funny thing is, they want to close us down in Australia, our power stations, and go wind turbines and solar. But yet, we're the biggest coal seller to China. So it's like, isn't that hypocritical? You're worried about the ozone, the climate, but yet you're exporting coal to China so they can run their power stations. I'm like, you're fucking idiots.
Yeah, but what people don't understand is, listen to me. I love you. Remember George Carlin did a whole spoof on this
Oh
shit.
yeah, oh
How
yeah.
arrogant humans are. How arrogant
It's very
Mother
switched
Nature
on.
could snap her finger and wipe us off.
Yeah.
But listen to
Mm-hmm.
me. When human beings have the power to stop an earthquake, to stop a tsunami, stop a volcano, stop a solar flare, stop the locusts from flying, stop the
Mm-hmm.
desert with the giant. When you could do that shit, when you can make it rain in the Sahara Desert, then I'll tell you, you know what, we can change the climate. But right now, that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
I
Because
don't know. They do
NASA
have.
just put out a report that the actual temperature since 2017 has gone up, not down. Not I mean going down, not up. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? We
Well,
we actually got a
it's like
degree cold.
these idiots that say sea level rising, sea level rising. Obama, and like I said, Obama and all those other people who go on about it. Obama's house, I was watching a show. He's
On the
only like
ocean.
he's only like 2 feet above sea level. So it's like
And
if
he's
you're
on the
so
ocean
worried,
now.
mm-hmm.
He actually has a wall in his yard in the back where, in case the tide goes up a little too high or whatever, But still, that's to say, they've been talking about this since
Oh,
the 1960s when
I
I
know.
was young, and
Mm-hmm.
then in Leonard Nimoy in I think 1978, In Search of, he did this whole show, and he was a big climate guy, and he said by 1984 we were going to be underwater. Look what
Yeah.
happened. You know what I mean? It's
But
all
have you
bullshit. Even
watched? I love listening here because people call in the radio. Here you have fishermen who like through the whole family, like they're probably third generation, you know,
right.
over 100 years. Or here we have lots of oyster farms, like how oyster farms grow underwater a certain depth underwater so they can get the light and stuff. All these people call in and say, "Look, I've been here. My father, my grandfather have been doing this business for over 100 years. The water level is exactly the same fucking place it was when they were doing it. The water hasn't risen one bit. All the polar caps are gonna melt. Then we're all gonna. It's like, really? It's like, come
No,
on.
but for every glacier that melts a little bit, there's a new
Mm-hmm.
one forming somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Antarctica down. We got Arctica and then Antarctica
Mm-hmm.
down there. You know what I'm saying? But and there's Antarctica is so cold. The only life form that's indigenous to Antarctica is penguins. And people don't realize, they think penguins are at the North Pole. They're at the South Pole, and they're the only life. There's no polar bears down there. There's no white foxes. There's not much anything that can survive
There's a
Antarctica because it's that cold.
secret military base with UFOs and
Yeah.
things.
Well, the
But
flat earthers will
but
tell you different.
what gets me is too. It's like the way they talk about we're going to be underwater. Look at Florida and all the Everglades. If that was true, when Bob, what was his name? Fucking the unconventional truth, dickhead. What's his name that started all the
Oh, wait a minute. You're not talking about who
vice
ran for
president?
president,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Oh, you're talking about what's his name? Al Gore.
yeah. That movie came out 20 odd years ago. We're all going to be underwater, and this is going to happen. I'm thinking the Everglades is like pretty much at water level, or some places are beneath water
Oh
level.
yeah,
It should be underwater now, or even the city of Venice. It's got water streets. It's still sitting at the same level at the fucking
same
windows of
level.
those houses. It hasn't fucking come in their bottom window yet. It's like, come on.
Yeah, but liberals will tell you all kinds of shit. Like, I live in the same town. Ocasio AOC grew up right down the block from me. She didn't grow up
Mm-hmm.
in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? I lived in the Bronx a lot longer than she did, and she, 'cause that's where I'm from. But she lived over here. She went to elementary school with my nieces, high school with my nieces, middle school. And she's one of them nuts that they'll fucking fight you on it. They'll
Oh,
give you total like different things. Listen, I agree. Pollution is bad. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like seeing people dumping shit in the ocean or
Yeah.
anywhere on the ground out here or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Pollution is bad, okay? But there's a big the ocean can swallow almost anything.
Oh
You'd
yeah.
be
You
shocked.
can't stop water. That's feel like fire. People going about fire. Fire is
Oh,
bad,
dude,
but a wall of water. You ain't
cannot.
stopping a tidal wave or a tsunami. It's like
No, you ain't. When
no.
you could do that, then I'll be like human beings. You could do that. You know, we can
Mm-hmm.
control the fucking. You stopping fucking using plastics, using paper straws and full of
And
plastic.
this
Nothing
is
you can
why this
forget.
is my theory. And here's my theory, Greg. Yeah, you might think I'm crazy, but I've worked it out because I was watching these shows where back in where the pyramids are. When they actually built stuff really from stone and marble. Like
Yeah, man.
if water comes or if anything comes, that will still survive when the water goes away because the pyramids are so strong. It will be there. Houses like this or yours or mine, wind and
Gone.
rain will be obliterated. So that's why the pyramids have been there for so long. And then people like us come along, and like even around some of the pyramids, they find these copper pipes and mechanical stuff, and they're like, how the fuck could there be mechanical stuff with these primitive people? But it wasn't
Well, you could.
primitive people. What it is, it's us. And we get to a point in our evolution where, with all this AI shit and that, what ends up happening is we destroy ourselves and we wipe ourselves out. And a few survive, and then they start breeding again, and the whole system starts. So now the new lot of people have to start building. They start digging and go, oh, look what we found. How did that get there? We're the first people here. Who made this? We did. But the other
Well,
generation, they got wiped out. We just keep wiping ourselves out and we keep coming back and finding shit that we already fucking made
you know
before.
what I believe, though, Lee? I believe if there are UFOs and you see these fucking crafts going into water, like supposedly Christopher Columbus wrote in his
Mm-hmm.
diary
Oh,
that
yeah.
one day he was standing out on the deck, and in the midnight, black of
Yeah.
night, he saw a giant light come up out of the ocean and shoot
Yeah.
off. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I believe about that shit, guys, because I do know that Bigfoot's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you this: if there is UFOs, I think it's us in the future,
Mm-hmm.
almost like Star Trek coming back, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to interfere, you know, because you
Mm-hmm.
can't, you don't want to change.
Exactly.
But
We
I
got to
think
we got
it's
to work it
us
out for ourselves. But that's where I think too. I
because
think they put us here to see if we can evolve a certain way. But I think they get to a point where they go, listen, we'll give them a couple more years. If they can't work this shit out, we're fucking sending a meteor. We'll start again. They'll be like, this is the fucking 10th time we've had to start again, but they're fucking up again. They're doing it again. They still haven't learned to get along. Now we've got these people over here fighting about which God. And all it was us. We were the UFO. We were the Star of Bethlehem. If they think it's some fucking God and that God there is better than their God, so they're killing each other. Over here in this country, we've got black people and white people fighting over skin color, so they can't get along. It's like the aliens must just be like, they must be watching us like the biggest, dumbest fucking reality show ever. Let's tune in to see what's happening on Earth today. Well, look at these motherfuckers.
well,
He just killed
well, it
that
is
guy.
true.
Yeah, he just killed
There's
this guy for
ancient
his
drawings.
shoes.
Lee, there's ancient drawings on cave walls where they
With
actually show like
UFOs.
spaceships and airplanes.
Yeah.
Like they actually show airplanes. How did
Mm-hmm.
somebody fucking draw that shit
Mm-hmm.
4,000 years? They didn't even have language back then. They spoke in
Yeah.
like fucking for instances.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They would draw a picture of something, you know,
Yeah. Well,
but
there's a
they had
famous
fucking.
one. There's a famous one picture of Mary, like the Virgin Mary, and she's standing somewhere, and there's like a window arch and this and that. And out in the sky is this, like you said, a cylinder object with like a person sitting in it. I'm thinking, how would they even have a concept, like you said, back then, of something flying in the sky with someone in it? It's like you wouldn't
But
even think about it, could you?
they have what
Well,
we look as flying saucers today
my friend, he goes on
with
tours.
lights.
Yeah, my
What's
friend,
that?
he goes on these tours sometimes still, and he goes out to the tribes and he stays with the tribes in the middle of Africa. And
I love shit like that.
yeah, like
I
I mean,
wouldn't do it,
he
but I like
stays there
watching.
forever. But even there, the young kids, when he gets his phone out and shows them stuff, they're just like, he'll be showing them like videos of stuff with different things, like even planes and that, because they've never seen one. They're just like, what the fuck is that? It's like, he's showing them all this stuff. It's like they can't comprehend what the fuck it is, because could you imagine if you lived out in the jungle or out in the somewhere out in the desert all your life? Even something as simple. I've seen. What show did I see it on? They
I
did.
see shit like
It
I
was
love
actually
that
telling
stuff.
me. he was actually telling me there was a reality show that was meant to happen in England, where they went into somewhere like out in Ethiopia and got a family in the middle out there's never seen TVs or anything. Took a family from there, took a family from England, and swapped them for this reality show. The
Oh
family
shit.
that went from Ethiopia to England after 2 days couldn't take it. They had to go back because you imagine going from middle of desert type stuff where you go to the water still. They bathe where he went. He had videos of it. They sometimes bathe under the cow's urine and stuff like that. Could you imagine
That's how
going
their
from?
hair gets yellow.
Could
Yes.
you could you imagine going to like somewhere like London and then seeing cars, planes, big TV screens, people everywhere? I mean, that would be like the
Thousands of
weirdest.
people. Yeah.
Oh, that would be like the weirdest. It would be a culture shock. You wouldn't be able to fucking. You'd be like, what
Well, you
the
know, it's funny.
fuck?
They showed a fucking kid, like, they'll show somebody, like, look at this cell phone right here. You know, by the way, game face.
Mm,
Anyway, they're showing a view. Look at his cell phone. And they look at the picture, like, here's like a person, you know, like a video clip, right? And
mm-hmm,
they'll be looking at the phone like, holy fuck, like, where, like, they think it's a real
mm-hmm,
little person in a box. They don't
mm-hmm.
understand, like, technology to them is like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, what 4 or 5 years ago, that guy, they had a video, the whole documentary. You can look it up on YouTube if you're bored. It's a great documentary. I forgot his name. He was actually Asian, but he was a Christian, and he wanted to go to one of these islands that are cannibals, and there's a few islands that you cannot
Yeah.
go to at all. And he went to that island, and they fucking killed him. And the, his boat was so the guys on the boat were so scared to try to get his body, they wouldn't let him take his body off that island. So his body's still there, whether it's his skeletons or that they keep now. But they were even shooting. They had a plane, and they were shooting arrows at the plane
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. So these people have no concept. They don't know what the fuck you are. They look at us like
Remember?
we're gods from a different galaxy or something.
Well,
You know?
Who was that guy? There's a story. You can Google it. I forget who it was. That remember they found him in was it Japan or Vietnam or somewhere after 60. It was almost like 20, 30 years after the war was over. They found him still living in the jungle, and he didn't even know the war was over.
You know what it is? It was, I know what you're talking about. He was left in the Japanese War, like when we
Yeah,
would go fight with Japan and Korea. My father was in that war, the Korean War. Um, there were guys who, with the planes, they would fight and planes would crash on
yeah,
desert islands. And they would actually live on a desert island like Gilligan and shit. And they would live there for years, and
yeah,
they'd find these soldiers that were American soldiers, whatever. They had no idea the war was over, you know? They
yeah.
were stranded on desert islands and shits because their planes
Mhm.
went down.
Now, could you
Yeah,
imagine someone picking you up and taking you back, and you're like, the war is over? It's like,
yeah, right. Wait, who's president? You mean Donald Trump, the reality star? He's now a president? But
it's crazy, isn't it? But like you said, the world is such a great place. But I just wish people, when it comes down to it, no matter who you vote for, no matter what religion you are, whatever, the main thing people need to realize is the media are the ones that are just tearing people apart. Like no one used to argue. Like I lived in America, what from the early '90s to mid 2000s, and I didn't see half. Like you might, I don't know if you're like, yeah, of course you're going to have a racist here and there, but to say racism in America is so rampant, I'm thinking everyone that I knew, whether they were black, Hispanic, whatever, got along great. No one ever had a problem with anyone. It was just like
right,
you're gonna
it
have
wasn't
gangs
until
and criminals, sure, but it was just like the way the
but it
media
started when
presents.
Obama was president. He
Oh,
split the ring. He
oh,
he did everything to not unify everybody. First of all, if I was black, I'd be like, "What did you do for me?" You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Your life's still the same, so whatever. But the thing is, Obama started all that shit with the Black Lives Matter. What do we want? Dead cops? How do pigs in a blanket? Fry them like bacon. That started in New York
oh
here.
yeah,
And all. But all this shit started with Obama. I grew up with kids that my one of my best friends was
I
black too,
know, and
and I
no, and
never
no
said
one,
I'm going to
no
hang
one
out tonight
even.
with my black friend. I never said that.
No. Well,
Never.
I got accused of being racist once because the first guy I met when I moved to California, the same day, was Kurt Miller. His father was a minister in Iowa. Beautiful guy, like down to earth. We became like brothers for like almost 20 years. I stayed with him, he stayed with me. We traveled everywhere when I went doing appearances. And someone said to me, "Oh, who's that? You got, oh, so someone asked about a friend." I said, "Oh, Kurt. Oh, he's my friend." "Oh, yeah, what's Kurt?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what's Kurt? He's my friend." "Yeah, but what is he?" I said. Kurt. No, is he white or black? I'm like, he's black, but I don't see that. I just see my friend Kurt. Oh, if you don't see that he's black, you're denying he's black, and that's being racist. I'm like, what? That's like you said. I don't go, this is Kurt, my black friend. I'm like, this is Kurt.
I
Yes,
never
I
said,
can see
yeah, never.
someone's skin color's different, but it doesn't make a fucking difference to me. It's like, it's Kurt. I don't care what I said. That's why I always tell people when I used to be in America and they started doing all that fucking Hispanic, Caucasian, tick your box. And I still tell people today, if you have to fill out a form like that, just draw another box and write human beside it and tick that
There
box.
you go.
If we all started ticking human, they might realize we're all the fucking same. We pretty much all just want to live in peace, help our fellow person, help our neighbor. There's that sort of thing. This whole thing about, oh, everyone's out to get everyone, that's just the media to get us
It's
fighting.
bullshit.
The government loves nothing more when we are all divided, fighting amongst ourselves. That's their dream.
Absolutely. And it started with Obama. I'm telling you,
Mm.
he started with all that Black Lives Matter. He split
Uh,
he helped split people. But, let me tell you something. To call this country a racist country, where guys who are of other ethnicities, even like if I grew up in the
mm,
Dominican Republic, I come play baseball, making 30 fucking something $1 million
uh,
a year. I would, you had a black president, you got,
uh.
they,
Look at most major cities, the mayors, district attorneys.
right.
They're all people of color or Hispanic
They're
or
all
whatever. But look,
liberals.
this is what I say is too. Now let's just say they say, oh, Australia's racist, America's racist. Look at all the people coming into the country, whether it be legally or illegally. They're
Right.
all immigrants of different color, different forms. I'm thinking now, if you heard America's racist, the white supremacists are out to kill you, you wouldn't move there. They'd be like, let's just go back in history and say Hitler won the war. Now
Right. No,
Hitler's
you're
run.
right.
If Hitler's running Germany and you're Jewish, you wouldn't say, "I think I might move to Germany. That seems like a nice place." You wouldn't do it. If you thought America was that racist, you wouldn't fucking go there. But America, Australia, it's like the land of opportunity. It's like whether you're black, white, gay, straight, trans, whatever. I always say this: today in America, if you're black, white, Hispanic, whatever,
Right.
no matter what you are, tell me one thing that a white man can do that you can't do. Everyone has the same opportunity. It's up to you to go out and get it, not sit back and wait for it to come along. I always tell people if you're not where you want to be in life, don't point
Sure.
fingers. Look in the mirror. That's the reason why you're not where you want to be because of you
That
and your attitude.
that's 100%, bro. Let me tell you something. My children are part black. You know what I'm saying? My ex-wife
Mm-hmm.
was mulatto. Her father was black. Her mother was white.
Mm-hmm.
My children are 1/4 black. But it doesn't matter. I never looked at it like that. Look at my girlfriend. My girlfriend's a fucking immigrant. Her whole
Mm-hmm.
my girlfriend's actually a border baby. Her
Mm-hmm.
mother, the fucking missing link, was pregnant with her, and she ran across the
Mm-hmm.
fucking border. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
gave birth. Half her family that doesn't even speak
Mm-hmm.
English at all. Lucy, my girlfriend used to be an interpreter for the state of New Jersey, actually, for
Yeah.
social services, interpret Spanish to English. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, and dude, Lee, I know you've dated black chicks, fuck black chicks. I
Mm-hmm.
have, you know what I mean? I'm saying
I've
like,
been to all races. An ex-wife of mine was coloured from South Africa, and she was a Muslim. And people go, "Lee, you don't like Muslims." I'm like, my ex-wife was a Muslim, so it's like, you idiot, you don't know
I
nothing
have,
about me. I take people as I find them. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. It's that fucking simple. It's like it's not rocket
me too.
science here.
An asshole's an asshole, and
Exactly.
it doesn't matter if you were like your house was getting robbed, you wouldn't say, "Well, black dude did it, so we got to fuck him up." But if a white dude did it, it's okay. No, what I'm saying is, piece of shit's a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this country, and I'm seeing most of your athletes are some sort of different
And
ethnicity
that's
than.
what I hate too when you talk about the athletes. When I see the LeBron Jameses or the
Oh,
Oprah Winfreys, hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're going to sit there and say this country is racist. You're getting
oh,
paid hundreds of millions of dollars from the NBA. You're getting paid millions from Nike. You're getting paid millions from whatever. And when you stand there, I was saying this once before. I said, here's LeBron. He's always going on about white supremacy and this and that. He's scared of the white people. I'm thinking, LeBron, when at the end of the game, say you just won the championship and you got the ring, the crowd's going crazy, soak it all in, stand in the middle of the court and just look around at the crowd, I can guarantee probably 70% are probably white people with little kids wearing LeBron t-shirts, LeBron shoes, got the
And,
LeBron jersey on. I said, and you're going to call them racist? I said, if America was racist, they wouldn't be buying your clothing, wearing your shoes, supporting you, coming to watch your game. You're
and
making
who do you think
millions
gave
of
him the million
dollars.
dollar contracts that he gets? Who do you think
Oh,
gives him the $1 million contracts, huh? It ain't
yeah,
Black Lives Matter.
no,
Okay.
no.
Same thing with Oprah Winfrey.
Mm-hmm,
Oprah Winfrey, there's videos of her telling Donald Trump in the 1980s, you should run for president. You're what we need. That's because back then Donald Trump
mm-hmm.
was a Democrat. Okay. But
Yeah. And
Democrats
it's
have
like I
gotten,
said, it's like we said before. If there was any video of him ever being racist or saying
oh,
a racist thing, it would have been out there played on loop over and over and
over and
over
over.
again.
There's no video of him saying the N word. And let me tell you something. I got a lot of video of I got
Oh,
Joe Biden saying it. They took it off
mm-hmm,
YouTube. You know what I mean? I got it off
mm-hmm,
YouTube. I also got there was a famous African Zulu shaman. His
mm-hmm,
name is Credo Mutwa. I don't know if you ever saw him. There's a lot of quotes by him. And he said that Obama is the Antichrist, like a demon. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? And there's this whole thing about it that they had on YouTube. Of course, I captured it. I got it because I knew they were going to take it off. It's been, they took it off years ago, but I still have the video, man. I'll show you some of that shit, and you'd
mm-hmm.
be like, "Holy fuck!" Because, look, we can't say anything. You got to watch certain words that you
Yeah.
say. You know what I mean? Like
Well, my
you
friend,
know,
my friend that went traveling, he got banned from Instagram for a month because he went to Nigeria. And he went to stay with some of the tribes in Nigeria. So he puts up photos of the tribes. He writes Nigeria with the flag. He got banned because you know how it's spelt. It has one less G in it, but because he put I went to Nigeria, the computer algorithm picked up the N word, and he got banned for 30 days. That's the country name. It's like,
listen, that's it. I just put up I just started doing TikTok. I'm not too good with that shit. My
no.
girlfriend
So did
is
I.
doing
You're
it.
like me. TikTok confuses the hell out of me. I'm going on like, how do I post this? Now, what's that shit popping up? I'm like, I can't,
Yeah, right.
I can't fucking,
But
I
you
don't
got to
know.
watch everything you say. And I just put up a
Oh,
video about
thank
that
you.
kid.
Look at that. Thank you to PC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PC.
And you can add a
Listen,
message during an
I just put up
episode. Thank you.
a video, Lee, right, of this kid that I said that this kid in the gym. It was a fucking 1 minute video about a
I
kid in
saw.
the
Is that the
gym
one where
looking
you
at this.
said was doing the rope one and the
Yes.
thing? Yeah.
Do you know that they gave me they threatened me TikToks. They said I was
Why?
bullying because they said that's bullying
Oh my god.
because I told the kid, "What
Oh
the fuck are
shit.
you doing? Are
Shit.
you crazy?"
I'm not gonna last long on TikTok then if that's bullying. So people,
That's what they,
Greg and I are on TikTok, but if you want to see us, you got to get there quick because we won't be there for long.
all right. We're better off here on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh
Your
yeah, for
channel,
the
my
time
channel.
being.
Lee just got his
Yeah.
thing going. I don't really like TikTok. I just don't like the feel
I
of it.
can't I can't understand it. It's just weird. I don't get how to. I watched a girl at the airport once. I looked over her shoulder. She was on TikTok, and this is how, like I said, they call these things smartphones, but they're making us dumber. They're making us all brain dead. We can't remember anything. We've got to go to our phone to look for numbers. So I look over this girl's shoulder at the airport, and she's on TikTok and she's scrolling, and all she's watching is people doing this.
Yeah,
Next one.
stupid shit.
It's like she's just watching people pull faces. I'm thinking, is this what entertainment's become to humans? And I'm looking around the airport. I think before we had phones, we used to sit here and maybe buy a magazine to read, or here's something different. We used to actually communicate with people, talk,
Right.
have conversation, learn what this person does. What do you do for a living? Oh, that's great. Oh, you might know a friend of mine. It's like now everyone's in their own little bubble. It's like sometimes you say hello to people, they go, it's like you talking to me. It's like I just said hello.
The
It's like
funny
so
thing is,
weird.
if you're sitting in a doctor's office, you ever sit in a doctor's office? There's like 10 other
Oh,
people in there,
everyone's
and
quiet.
everybody's on their phone. Even old
Oh,
ladies are on their fucking phone and
mm.
shit.
I think the
But then
funniest still thing to this day is when you get on the elevator, people are talking outside the door. As soon as the door opens up and they get on, I always
they
stand there. Once there's a few people in there, I go, shh, don't anybody talk. against the law to talk in an elevator. And that normally breaks the ice and people start talking. But you can guarantee you'll be on the elevator, people at the door. Yeah, on Saturday, as soon as the doors open up, they hop on. It's like everyone just
Yeah,
goes quiet on the elevator. No one talks. It's like,
yeah, nobody talks. Yeah, it's always like that. But you go in a doctor's office, they're all sitting there, everybody, old ladies
everywhere,
on the phone.
everywhere. Outside, I go outside walking. I take my phone when I'm walking because, like I said, there might be a nice sunrise. Maybe there's some dolphins, but I'm never texting or doing this while I'm walking.
Or your wife's gonna call you. You know what I mean?
I'm enjoying life. I'm actually looking at the ocean and stuff. It's like when people go to concerts now, how many of them watch it through their phone? It's like if you want to do that, fucking
Stay home.
buy the concert at home and watch it on TV. Why can't you just soak it up and enjoy the moment? Save it in your brain, save it here. But everyone's got their
That's
phone
what I
up
said.
recording it. I'm like, these are fucking morons, people. It's like just that's why I said they call it a smartphone, but that was the gimmick. Let's call it a
Oh,
smartphone because this is going to make people so fucking stupid.
it has, right? To actually see a guy, he's watching it for, and fucking, he's not only doing a tricep pull down, but it's a 10-pound plate too, bro. You can't
Oh
even
no!
feel the 10 pound.
Now,
They
now
don't.
you've said it. Now you've said it on here. We're going to lose the YouTube channel. This is bullying, Greg. This is
That's what
bullying.
they actually told me that on fucking TikTok. I
Well, I
don't even
told you,
like that shit. My
I
girlfriend.
called someone a clown. I called someone a clown on Instagram and put the clown emoji. Your post has been removed for
Oh,
harassment
shit.
and something like this. I'm like, a clown emoji is harassment.
Then why do you have the emoji on your site? You know what I mean? Why do you give
Oh,
me
it was
the
actually
emoji?
hate. That was hate speech. That's what they told me. Hate speech. Having
But
the
see, that's
clown.
all. That's bad. Look, you have the right to say anything in this country, even if it's the worst shit on the
Mhm.
planet. You have to then you have to take whatever's coming to you if you open your
Yeah,
mouth to say the wrong thing to the wrong person or about the wrong subject.
exactly.
But you have the right to say it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Freedom of
Like I said, if
speech.
you're gonna, if that's the way, well, like I said, I used to have a friend, and people would call him racist, but it wasn't racist. He's like, he said to me once, he goes, "Look, if I had the choice, and my daughter was to marry someone, he just said I'd prefer she married a white guy. That was his preference. But he goes, I got no problem if she marries a Mexican, a black guy, whoever. I'm going to love the person she marries if they make her happy. But my preference would be all white. And they're like, oh, he's racist, he's this, he's that. But yet there are cultures where they say they have arranged marriages, because it comes under culture. Indian people, Chinese people, Jewish people, you have to marry within your culture
Your
and stuff.
religion. Yeah.
No one says nothing about that. But as soon as a white guy says, I'd like my daughter to marry within her culture of white people, you're racist. He's like, I'm not. He goes, that's just my preference. But whoever she marries and they make her happy, hey, I don't care. But if I had a preference, he said, but yet because he said that, he's racist. I think about people have arranged marriages all the time and you have to marry within a certain race or your family disowns you.
Oh, absolutely. When I lived in California, when I was doing the Gold's Gym thing, back in the early '80s, right? I was there for like 2 years, from '81 to '80. I actually got the December of '80, but whatever. I actually dated this
Hmm.
girl. Okay, she was from Compton and she was black
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was so fucking cute. But you know what's funny? After the second date, when I talked to her on the phone, she told me my brother said that I can't see you anymore. And I said, what the fuck? What's the problem? And because her brother was like a gangbanger, and she
Well,
even told me, please, if you come here, he's gonna do something to you. So don't. And I
well,
was
it's
like,
funny too. When I used to go to Gold's, there used to be a bodybuilder there called Florence David. Do you remember her? She was from
yeah, wait, yeah, yeah,
Spring.
yeah. I know. Yeah, I
Real
know that.
pretty. She
Yeah,
had long dreadlocks and stuff like this, and competed.
yeah.
Great bodybuilder girl. Well, what's its name? Flex, Chris. Everyone used to try to get onto her, but she wouldn't. She'd talk to her, but the second she started dating me, holy hell, did they go off at her, and they wouldn't talk to me because she was dating the white guy. I'm thinking, how fucking stupid. Well, my training partner, the one I talked about, Kurt, the black guy, he used to help those other bodybuilders. And one time in the gym, he got really upset because he'd go do errands for him, and if they needed a special supplements, he'd get it for him and help him out. Or he's the type of guy I'd be training, and I go to get a spot. I'm like, where did Kurt go? And I just keep carrying on. 10 minutes later, he comes back. I'm like, where the fuck did you go? Oh, such and such just needed a lift home. He was just that type of guy. He wanted to help everybody. because like I said, his father was a minister, doesn't have a bad bone in his body. But this one time he's training with me and the group, the pros who I sort of mentioned, were down the other end of the gym. You fucking sell out training with the white boy and that really hurt him. He's like, why the fuck would they say that? It's like, you're my friend, they're my friend, but they'll call him a sellout because he was training with me and stuff like that. And I say he's a nice guy and wouldn't do violence to anyone, but the one time I only ever see Kurt, my friend, go off, used to be this guy that come in the golds all the time. He'd wear flip-flops, long hair. And all he
That
did
could
was,
be a lot of guys. Yeah.
I know, you probably know him when you were there. He was there for years. Real weird-looking guy, but he'd just watch people train. And he'd
There was a
watch
lot of that,
people.
especially in the early '80s. There was a lot of like bums,
So he just
hippies,
used
and
to
shit
watch.
that
He
lived
used
on
to
the
just
beach.
watch me all the time. And this day, Kurt must have been having a bad day, maybe. And I was doing the redelt machine, and Kurt's standing there. That fucker's looking. He's looking. We're in the third room at Gold's. He's fucking looking. I said, just ignore him. And I'm doing my set. He's, oh, fuck. And I heard go, fuck it. I'm like, and I'm doing my set. I'm like, where'd Kurt go? I turn around. He's over there. He punches the guy in the fucking head. He's like,
Oh
stop
shit!
fucking looking. Whack. The guy goes down to the ground. He grabs the guy by his leg, pushes the fucking side exit door open and drags him into the car park and slams the door shut. I'm like, oh,
Oh
no.
shit! Did he get in trouble? Because at Golds they don't like that. You know, like if
No,
there's
well,
fights, they
because I
freak
was
out.
really good with Ed Connors and that, and Ed
Oh
knew
yeah, yeah,
Kurt and
that's
knew
true.
Ed. Ed's pretty. He's like, okay,
Ed's
just
a
don't let it
great
happen.
guy.
Just don't let it happen again.
He's a great guy, Ed. Yeah, I know Ed. But
Uh,
you know, like I remember one time when I was dating. Matter of fact, I just did this story about a serial killer thing. You know, and I
mhm,
was talking about this girl. The girl that I used to date was Indian, and she was gorgeous. She had hair down to her ass. You know, and it was all wild. She was
mhm,
real skinny, exactly the way I like. And I was with her and her friend, who she was a black girl, was with my other friend who was a bodybuilder, and we went out and we were in New York City and we had to go to Popeye's Chicken. This is a long time ago. This is way back then, and I remember some black dudes pulled up and they were like, "Yo, what are you girls doing with those guys?" You know what I mean? Like because
mhm.
the Indian girl I was with was dark too because she was
Yeah,
Trinidadian, from Trinidad, but
yeah.
she was a you come up to my house at three
Mhm.
thirty, yes, like that kind of shit. But
Randy's
like
asking, when can I come to Ireland? Randy, I've been to Ireland a couple of times. I used to go to Graham McConsky's gym. He was in I can't even pronounce the name. There's a castle right on the water. There's a
oh
castle right
shit,
underwater there. It was a beautiful place I used to go to. Graham, he's one of the guys, when I met him, he's like a promoter. He took me over there to the gym and I did a seminar. I went there twice and that. He's the type of guy that when you meet someone, they're like a lifelong friend and that. And he likes
mm-hmm.
skulls and the Punisher, had the Punisher logo on his gym. It's called Valhalla Gym, I'm pretty sure. And I had this bracelet with skulls on and I gave it to him. And actually, sadly, he had a heart attack and died, but he still had that bracelet on. They buried it with
Oh
him. It meant so much to him. But he was nicest guy ever. And he was from
wow.
over there in Ireland. But it's sad when you meet people like that. But we might wrap this up. Greg, thank you for coming on and being my first guest. We'll have to do it again.
My brother, I love you. You got much respect and love
Now,
for you
now,
always.
now, when we're finished here, Lee just has to learn how to go save and post and not delete all this.
Oh, oh, that would be
Mm.
fucking no good.
Well,
I
I'm
think
like,
if
and
you
I'm like
post,
you. I'm like you. If there's two choices, I always pick the wrong fucking button. I'm
yeah,
like,
man,
oh,
that's
fuck,
well,
it's
you and
like,
I said that before we even got on the air today. But that's the thing. You might make sure that you post it up to into
yeah,
that it goes up
yeah.
so that we don't lose the video. We'll
And
do it.
thank you,
You want to
thank
have some
you,
more?
thank you, thank you, PC again for the money you sent. Yes, people, if you do want to send tips in or super chats or whatever, there's that dollar sign just there where you can write your comments in. There's a little dollar sign. You click on the dollar sign, and you can send $1.99 or $2.99. So I can get a donut later or something. I just I hope Greg's not adding up the money that's coming in, because when I see Greg in New Jersey next year, be like, Lee, I added up. You owe me $25.76.
I can't even see. I can't even see any of that, bro. I
Oh,
mean, I'm
good.
fucking.
Nothing's come in. We got nothing, Greg. No one sent nothing in.
I can't see
Oh, I'm
any of
going to
it.
be like
Sorry,
Dave.
guys.
I'm going to be like Dave. I don't see anything. I don't see. Where's that?
Dave.
I don't see no money coming in. Yeah. There's no money
Dave's a
coming in here.
scandal. I love Dave, but he's a scandal. You guys,
There's
yeah,
no money.
I love all you guys, man. I love all
I
you
was just
guys.
pretending, Greg. I was pretending people are sending money in. We didn't get anything. I'll
No,
take you out for
no,
dinner.
I
I'll take
understood
you
it.
out for dinner when I'm there next.
Thank you. But you know what, people, you guys don't understand it. When we all, when that all came out and we were talking about that, that's because Lee has the confessional show, and like you guys were sending in money thinking it's going to Lee and Jimmy, and it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And when I would do the after hours, sometimes people would say like Joe Zapata and his brother George sent
This is for Greg.
$100. He said, "This is for Greg." And look, guys, that's not what I'm all about.
No.
Otherwise I would have asked Dave to pay me to do that show. But the
No,
thing is,
just know it went to Dave's sushi fund. That's all.
yeah, right. He's just feeding the snakes with that. So, dude, if you ever go to Dave's and he has these fucking like rats,
Yeah.
he breeds, or boy, I don't know if he breeds them or buys them to feed the snakes. Those fucking things stink so bad. If you ever the old snake house, so I used to go in. Oh my god, does that shit stink? Woo. He opened up drawers. There's all these snakes. You throw a rat in, you hear the rat screaming.
Oh no, smelly. Well, I got to leave, Greg, now. But then look here,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Look, I got to change. I got to change into my free shirt. I got my little friend here that comes out to help me sometimes for the show.
Who's that? Oh shit! To Pope. Look what I got right here. Look. See that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's it. That's right here where I'm sitting. That's at the dinner table where fucking. That's where Joe Zapata was sitting, right there.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. So when you spoke to Joe, did you? He sent me a message. So he said next time he tracks down Lee Majors, he's going to get a shout out for me from Lee Majors.
Yeah, he told me. I told him. He said he's going to see him again. So we'll get you that fucking.
Wouldn't that be nice?
What? Your mom's name is Lynn, right?
Lynn, yeah, and she fell in love with Lee. She fell in love with Lee Majors.
When he sees Lee Majors again, I told him, do a video clip and say, "Hey, Lynn, your son Lee Priest was named after me," or make a thing about that, a little clip, so you can send it to your mother.
She'd love that. She'd love that. That'd be wonderful if it could happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Otherwise, I would have been called Dwayne because there was another actor called Dwayne, not The Rock. This was way back. And then suddenly Lee Majors come on TV, and I went from being called Dwayne to Lee. So lucky Lee Majors came on TV.
I can't picture calling you a Dwayne. You look like a Lee. You don't look like a Dwayne.
But then I wonder if I was called Dwayne, would I just be used to it now? Lee would seem weird if my name was Dwayne.
Right. I hate my name.
Imagine The Rock if his name was, if we changed it to Lee. Well, Lee Johnson would probably still suit him though. Yeah.
Lee Johnson. I could see it. I could see that.
Dwayne Lee The Rock Johnson.
They should have called him Rocky after his father. His father, Rocky Johnson. You should just call him Rocky. So then it would have been, then it would have been even more appropriate because that's his father. Rocky.
But then Stallone would be like, "That's the name of my movie."
Stallone's all right though. He's not. He gets fucked over more than he don't fuck no. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's not too tall. He's not that big.
No. Well,
anyway.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being my first guest, Greg.
I love you, my brother.
And like I said, fingers crossed. I can when I turn this off somehow. I don't even know how to turn it off, but when I hit that button, hopefully it should give me the option to save and post. If not, people, this interview was all in your memory. It's like one of those things you just had to be here. You had to be there.
It never happened. No, but listen, I love you guys. Thank you, everybody. And if there's anybody that knows like how Lee can save this, before he saves it, if he's going to do something wrong, if there's a certain buddy, post it now. You know what I mean? Right away.
I'm pretty sure once I stop the live, it gives me the option to save.
It does, right? Okay.
Yes, Greg, it does. We'll have to find out.
All right, my brother. I'll talk to you. I'll call you. All right, thanks. Tell Jimmy I'm going to.
Okay, bye.